Hi everyone, my name is Leah Holtgren and I've been attending One&ALL for pretty much as long as I can remember. And I've also served on the ushering team at San Dimas campus for a couple years now too. Today, I'm excited to give you a short message on your relationships with adults. We'll reference Timothy, a young Christian assistant in Bible times who studied under the Apostle Paul, as an example. Let's start with who adults are, their strengths, their weaknesses, and their current role in your life. This topic includes those such as your parents, who we already discussed in week 1 of this series, teachers, coaches, mentors, relatives, and strangers too. Adults are just like any other human, created lovingly by God, separated by sin, and offered salvation by Jesus. The difference between them and you is that adults have years of experience and maturity that you have only just begun developing as you further explore your independence. Adults can be fun, but they can also be intimidating and a bit scary at times. They aren't right about everything, but they have all gone through being 10, 11, and 12 years old. Just by sheer time, adults have the upper hand in experience, wisdom, and knowledge. Today's culture and media will constantly tell you the opposite. Whether it be in the form of a meme, a video, a movie, or some popular media, the message is pretty much the same. They claim that adults have messed up the world with bad choices and that they have essentially set you up for failure in their mistakes. There is a general negative outlook that adults are slow, ineffective, hindering, and overall untrustworthy. But this is a lie the world is trying to sell you. A lie that makes you think that adults are no longer worthy of your respect, honor, or time. And this message also makes you believe that they are far removed from your life, controlling, or even just plain uncool. Be careful of what culture and media tells you because it can and will influence your thoughts and behavior towards adults if you let it. Even I deal with that too. Sometimes I find myself being really impatient with adults and thinking, oh, they're so uncool. But then I have to remember that those thoughts are not from God, but ideas from this world that I've somehow picked up. If you learn and remember what God says in the Bible about adults, you can have the wisdom to find and refuse those lies the world wants you to believe. A great example is a verse in the Old Testament that instructs us to take adults' advice and teaching to heart. In Deuteronomy 32:7, it says, "Remember the days of old, consider the generations long past. Ask your father and he will tell you, your elders and they will explain to you." Basically, this means that we should remember the past, including history, and the greater amount of time in this world those before you and older than you have been through before refusing what they have to offer. Deuteronomy also says to ask your parents and other adults for your help, and to not be afraid as you do so. In Paul's biblical letters to Timothy, he mentions that Timothy has led a life of good faith and has been taught from his grandmother and mother before him. Learn from your mentors as you take on new responsibilities, lifestyles, and challenges, just as Timothy did. Now, all of you 5th graders are in your last year of elementary school. Hopefully, you're excited for the next chapter in life, middle school. And if you continue attending One&ALL, youth ministry. You may not be as experienced as your older peers, but you have amazing confidence, curiosity, faith, and new ideas that you can share with older and also younger generations. You're beginning to take more responsibility for your life and discover who you are. It's a challenging but really awesome process to go through, believe me. In 5th grade, you can use all the amazing skills you've been developing over the years to start leading others. You're at the age where you can evaluate information you receive. You have the ability to separate truth and sound teaching from unhelpful and possibly dangerous guidance. The potential you have for great things is pretty much endless, and you can step into that potential now if you haven't already begun to do so. The Apostle Paul encourages Timothy, and all of you as young Christ followers, to be models for others. In 1 Timothy 4:12, he says, "Don't let anyone look down on you because you are young, but set an example for believers in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity." Paul is saying, that you should never let the fact that you are young discourage you from taking bold steps or doing brave things. He believes, through the wisdom of God, that young people like you can and should be examples for other Christians in how to talk, behave, show love to others, be strong in faith, and how to act correctly and morally. It kind of sounds like a fairly short list, but it is actually a heavy load in action without guidance and God's help. As the best mentor, God is always willing and wanting to talk to you through prayer. He is just one thought away at all times, whenever you need or want. He will give you encouragement, strength, and wisdom on how to be a good model. James 1:5 tells us that if any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. God gives you the basic instructions before leaving Earth, or the Bible for short, for endless support and guidance you can access anytime you open it. Now, this doesn't mean that you can do anything in whatever way you want or that you are above adult authority. Think of those relationships as adults with fifth graders rather than adults and fifth graders. There's a slight difference on how the two relate. You want your role modeling, curiosity, and strengths to be communicated in an effective, fruitful, and peaceful way that brings the best for both you and the adult. Getting this relationship right can be a tricky game of balances, but like all things, you get better with practice. With all that confidence you have, don't be afraid to make the first move. Introduce yourself, ask questions, share your insight. Listen to your adult peers, but don't be discouraged from participating or adding to the conversation. It took me quite a bit of time to learn these things, and I forget about them if I'm not careful. I struggle with balancing my fairly blunt personality while also communicating respect to adults I was interacting with. But hey, I'm still learning and getting better too. Additionally, if you don't understand an adult's reasoning behind their instruction or guidance, it's a smart thing to consider that they may be trying to save you from making a mistake they themselves have made in the past. You can ask for their reasons to better gain the wisdom they have for you. Good communication starts with mutual or equally returned respect. To initiate your conversation, just think of how you would ask a close friend for a big favor. You don't demand it, but you ask politely and sincerely. It doesn't have to be some formal or polished thing, but in my experience, if an adult understands that you are genuinely trying to get their help and are willing to learn from them, they will respond in kind. I find that eye contact and a smile are pretty helpful too. Just saying. Agents hired to find counterfeit money are trained by extensively studying the correct and true money rather than what all the fake money could look like. I think this practice is similar to how we can distinguish trustworthy adults from untrustworthy ones. As in, by studying trusted adults, you can better know who and what isn't trustworthy. Who are some adults that you trust in your life? What traits make them trustworthy to you? I've been blessed with many positive relationships with adults, and I have found some qualities that indicate a good and safe adult. They are kind and genuinely care about your needs. They're willing to explain their reasoning and help you understand situations. They are respectful to you in mannerisms and conversations, and they lead you towards success, becoming a better person and the best version of yourself that you can be. If they're Christian, they will encourage you in your journey with God and growth as a fellow Christ follower. Keep in mind that adults won't get all of these perfect, of course, but if you sense their intentions are good, it's probably a green light. Studying and learning from good role models is extremely useful, but it's also helpful to know some common counterfeit traits and behaviors as well. Some red flags are being completely alone with an unfamiliar adult, which isn't necessarily immediately dangerous, but is a good general safety rule. If an adult is trying to touch you in places that a bathing suit would cover, that's definitely not okay. If they ask for sensitive or personal information, especially outside a professional setting. When an adult tries to single you out from a group or get you alone with them, especially if they're unfamiliar. If they're aggressive, as in unprovoked and unnecessary rough behavior or words. This isn't the same thing as sternness in discipline, which has a logical reason behind it and is not done with the intention to harm you, but to help. Some less dangerous but orange flags are unwanted touching or general lack of boundary respect. If they try to persuade you to do something you don't have permission to do or don't feel comfortable safe doing, or if you just have a feeling or intuition that something is not trustworthy about the adult or the situation. With that adult, you might want to trust your instincts. There are more qualities than just these lists, but they are good starting points to keep watch for when you're around and interacting with adults. When I'm not sure about an adult or in a situation, I find that talking to a trusted adult about it really helps, because then I can receive additional insight and support for them. Praying to God for wisdom and protection, as our verse in James prompts us to do, is always a good idea, especially if you aren't able to contact a trusted adult at that moment. With these things in mind, I hope you can begin to change the world by starting with your circle. Having safe relationships with trusted adults and those older than you is such an important skill that you will be using for most of your life here on out. Remember that mutual respect, good communication, and God's guidance through prayer and the Bible are the best tools to enhance the skill until you're a pro at it. I'll finish up with a short prayer for you guys. Dear God, thank you for these amazing fifth graders and that they can change the world by talking with adults and having healthy relationships with adults. Give them wisdom, protection, and guidance as they do these things. In Jesus' name, amen.
What's up, guys? My name is Noah. I'm the youth pastor over here at Rancho Campus. And my fifth graders, you guys caught us on a really great night. Right now, we are in the middle of what we call city nights over here in youth. You might be asking yourself, what are city nights? You've heard of One Nights, the big event that we do once a month. Well, city nights, these are specifically community groups that we meet every single Wednesday, and we get together, and it's an opportunity for you to make connections with people at the church that are your age and are invested in developing a stronger relationship with Jesus Christ. And so if you guys are at the church and you're like, man, I want to make friends. Man, I need friends. I need better friends. Man, I want people to push me in my walk with Christ. City nights are the place for you. We would love to see you guys show up here or at your campus at 7 p.m. It's happening every single Wednesday. So pull up. We'd love to see you here and get you invested in a community group. All you have to do is you can go online, you can register. But if you just show up, we'll figure it out. We'll get you plugged into a group. It's as simple as that. But don't let me just take the word away from it. Let's go ahead and find some students and see what they think about city nights. Let's find these guys over here. Let's go. Hey, what's your name?
Autumn.
Autumn, what's your favorite thing about city nights?
Having the opportunity to learn new experiences about Jesus.
Fire. Let's see. Okay. Savannah, what's up, dude? What's your favorite thing about city nights other than the handstands?
I think the community groups are really good. They're a good place to grow your circle and to learn more about God and fellowship.
So fire. Abby's over here, thinks we don't see her. Abby, what's your favorite thing about city nights?
Just the socializing after. I think it's so fun, just like talking about the video and hanging out with friends.
Yes, sir. Hey, I can't let my boys back here in the corner be slacking. Let's go see what they like. Let's see. Hey. Stay. Halt. Yo, guys, I just want one person to say, why should people come to city nights?
Community. It's lit. It's fun.
You can be honest about anything. You can talk about anything. We'll hear you.
That's right, guys. So fifth graders, when you guys bump up to youth, we expect to see you here. Get plugged in, and we'll see you next time. Pastor Noah, out.